Yo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever part of the video chooses to reach you. Hope you're feeling well. I hope you're feeling fine. I hope you're feeling blessed. I hope you realize you are blessed. You are blessed because you got to see a day that somebody else didn't get to see. It is I, your humble, gracious, ever-loving host, Vaughn P, aka the Political Crash Out. Oh Lord, something made some noise. I didn't want to make noise. Yeah. All right. So, as you guys seen on the comment section, not comment section, description today, we're going to touch on a number of different topics. Trump's takeover of DC, not only his takeover of DC, his onslaught against the homeless. If you're from the state of Florida, you recognize that type of situation because our governor in the state of Florida, he did the same thing. He went to war with the homeless, and they basically are trying to make it a criminal offense to be homeless. We got I got a couple different topics on here because I didn't go live Friday. I want to talk about the Great Migration. For those that don't know, the Great Migration was a time after slavery had ended where Black people, they migrated. And it was a great migration. And I want to talk about some of the impact and how that left the community. I want to talk about Gaza. Unfortunately, Gaza is in a more detrimental situation than it was before. I don't know if you've been paying attention to it, but Habibi, you fucked up when you said you couldn't vote to further genocide and voted for Trump. Habibi, you fucked up when you said that Kamala and Joe were complicit in a genocide and made all that hoopla, made it seem like she was the worst option, and that if Kamala Harris had got elected, that Gaza was going to get wiped off the face of this earth. Let's stop right there. I'm talking about Haiti. Haiti is under a more fucked up situation than a lot of people even realize. So we're going to touch on that. We'll talk about the sheriff's offices. And let's just jump into this shit. The Great Migration. The Great Migration was a time where let's share my screen real quick so you guys can see what the Great Migration actually is. All right, the Great Migration was a significant movement of approximately 6 million African Americans from the rural South to urban areas in the North and West between 1916 and 1970, driven by the search for better economic opportunities and escape racial oppression. When we talk about the time after slavery, it was a different time than we're talking about right now. The opportunities for Black individuals were not plentiful. So you had a lot of individuals that branched out. They left the South. They left, areas where they had been growing up, born, working, whatever, in order to try and go somewhere to better their life. But when we fast forward all the way to 2025, I can't help but think that while the Great Migration did help a lot of Black individuals elevate their life, it watered down the Black representation that was in the South. It watered down what would become the Black political power that Black individuals have. And here's why I say I watered it down. Had the majority of Black Americans stayed in the South post-slavery, not talking anything about the conditions because I understand the conditions were horrendous. He's talking about a grandson of a first generation motherfucker that was free. So I understand the conditions that they were living in the South, but had those individuals stayed in the South, the number of black individuals in these southern states would greatly outnumber the number of white individuals in these southern states. What that would in turn do is yield more black power when it comes to the voting booth. Because we would be, one, would be represented by a lot of individuals that look like us. Two, we would have a solid voting block of individuals in the South to where the needs and necessities and the viewpoints of Black America would have no choice but to be put on the forefront because we would have the entire South on lock. We'd have that Mason-Dixon line area on lock. Majority of the white people that would be in the South would be rooting for Black people's interests because they would understand that it'll be in their own best interest to get on board this train or get left behind. We've seen that thought process play out with some well-off Black individuals because they see the train that the white folks are on, they go get on that train. It'd be a lot better for them to be on that train than to be on a Black train with us. Because that's the environment that we're living in now because of the Great Migration. And while I'm not going to try and explicitly say the Great Migration was a bad thing for Black America, excuse me, I cannot help but look at the impact that it ultimately had on the population of the Southern Blacks. And while there's a lot of us in the South, imagine if that, 6 million. Imagine 6 million African Americans added to the African Americans we have in the Southern states. What type of political power we would yield? What type of political influence we would yield with that type of community behind it? The Great Migration did a lot of things to the Black community. And one of those things, the biggest things, well, it did provide opportunities for some Black families, but it split the Black community. It split the Black community. And it also led to the class that we know as the Black bourgeoisie. Because when we seen the Black migration play out, the Great Migration play out, the Great Migration said those 6 million Blacks moved to northern states to try and figure out a better way of life. A lot of those individuals, they stayed in the Black Belt area of town, which was an area where predominantly Black individuals stayed that were new to the area. Transitory cities, if you will. But they turned into the hoods and slums and the ghettos. But how did they turn into that? I'll tell you how they turned into that. As those Black Belt cities started to grow, the individuals in those cities started to work. They started to retain wealth. They started to build wealth, And as a result of them building wealth, some of them said, hey, I don't want to live in this Black side of town anymore. And I'm not going to browbeat or, talk shit about anybody who wants to elevate themselves and move their family to a different environment. But when you look at reality of what's going on, you can't help but notice that when those richer or those wealthy or more secure Black individuals left the Black Belt and moved to the white sides of town, first of all, the whites didn't want them in that side of town to begin with. Some of these communities actually made rules and laws preventing ownership of land by Black individuals to prevent that type of stuff from happening. But we started to see these Black individuals leave the Black side of town. What happens when your big homie leaves the block? All the motherfucking YNs start that crazy. Same thing. When the wealthy or the more established Black individuals left those predominantly Black towns, a lot of bullshit started to happen. Those that Black influence, for whatever reason, just turned his back on that community. Hence, Black bourgeoisie. We can't point fingers and say, hey, they just some cool ass niggas, because given the opportunity, a lot of people would try and put their family in a better situation. So what we got to do is understand that we can put our family in a better situation without turning our back on the Black community. And that's what a lot of individuals in that Black Belt that left the black belt dead. They left it. Gone was the financially stable individuals to show other individuals in that community how to become financially stable. Gone were the connected individuals that knew city councilman, knew the sheriff, knew these individuals in town that pretty much made sure that this side of town got some love. Gone were the individuals that just showed an example of what you can aspire to be in that community. So when you don't have that example anymore, you turn it into the ghetto, you turn it into the slum, turn it into the hood. So I was reading a book and they mentioned the Great Migration. I started thinking about the Great Migration. I was like, damn, the Great Migration kind of fucked us up. Because we got all this gerrymandering shit going on now where Florida, Texas, and California already did it, where they go look at the map and they say, hey, where do we have enclaves of Republicans or white voters? We need to try and figure out how to make a district because we got an enclave, we got a large population of voters that think like this in this area. So that gerrymandering got me to thinking like, damn, the Great Migration fucked us up. Because if you had all the black people that were here originally in the South still here, and their remnants and their families still here, the South would be on fucking lock. The United States government would have no choice but to pay attention to the needs and wants and desires of Black America because we would be organized like a motherfucker. King would have never got shot. Hell no. Malcolm X either. Because we would have had that enclave of Black America to where, just think Rosewood or Black Wall Street on steroids. That's what we could have potentially had the Great Migration not gone down. It's something that we gotta be honest with ourselves about, because we've seen a lot of Black people turn their back on the Black community behind wanting to get ahead in life. In the time that we're in right now, it's going to be even more important that we stick together. Speaking of stick together and accountability, I got to touch on Teddy Bridgewater for a minute. Now, I am happy that Teddy, let me get off this Bing shit too, because Bing ain't what I be fucking with. But Teddy Bridgewater got signed by the Buccaneers. Teddy fucked up and cost himself his job. I know a lot of the Black community want to get mad and try and point the finger. Oh man, but American Heritage, the St. Thomas, the IMGs, the this, that, and that. Man, listen. Teddy Bridgewater forgot that he was Black. He was at a Black school. He was a Black man in America. You can sit there and believe what the internet wants to tell you if you want to, but you got to understand that Black men in America have a different set of rules you got to play by. And if you don't know those rules, I suggest you go talk to an old man in your community, because that old man in your community can tell you those rules. Teddy Bridgewater wants to put it like he was just out here trying to look after the kids. You know, I was buying Uber rides because it was, you know, I ain't wanting to walk home in that mean community. You know, I grew up in that community. I know it's not an easy place to live. If it was that goddamn simple, Teddy Bridgewater would have never been fired. And I hate that people want to hold on to this elementary school ass logic in regards to the Teddy Bridgewater situation and not understand that it was a very complex fucking situation. And all Teddy Bridgewater had to do was go to his booster club, use his booster club. That's why they have booster clubs at every fucking school to deal with this type of shit. People getting mad. Oh man, you know, it costs a lot of money. You're right. You all are fucking right. But if I gotta say so, you guys are being some stupid niggas because y'all overlooking the complexness of this situation. You've never heard of a head coach going on Facebook detailing every fucking thing that he's done for a school. Which speaks to another whole nother story, tells me that he's not aware, he doesn't know how to read the room. He doesn't pay attention, which speaks to a lot of black people. You guys don't know how to read the room. You guys don't be paying attention. Yeah, I want to get stuck in this. Well, I won't be heard. I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and listening to understand versus listening to respond can help you a whole lot in this world. Because Teddy went on that computer screen and talked about all what he was doing, and all he had to do was go have a conversation with the school athletic director. All he had to do was go have a conversation with the Booster Club president, and they would have created an avenue to get all that shit dealt with. But hey, we get on the internet and we put our whole fucking life on the internet. These fucking social media sites do not give a fuck about you. I don't know how many people that lost their relationships, jobs, that got their ass whooped, and all type of other fuckery behind social media. And niggas will not learn yet. You know, when niggas gonna learn? Teddy Bridgewater cost himself his job, and I'm tired of Black America sitting there getting mad and want to point out some other fuckery going on somewhere else and think that's a justification. No, fuckery over there, fuckery here. Like, I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. Like I said, y'all applying elementary school logic to complex situations. Where do I want to go from here? Speaking of complex situations, Gaza, I'm set. Gaza, this little strip of land, is in dire straits. God damn, I'm gonna go back. We got, aside from this right here, what they're saying about journalists getting killed, there is an active famine going on in Gaza. Not only is there an active famine going on in Gaza because of this stuff, Israel protests. Our news here doesn't talk about it, but they don't want it. You see this sign? Stop Bibi's war. Benjamin Netanyahu. There's a lot of protests going on in London, not London, well, some London. It's going on worldwide, but there's a lot of protests going on inside Israel today, last week, going on continuously because the Israeli people don't want this war. Benjamin Netanyahu is in a lot of trouble. I'll say that. Say it like this. And as the leader of that country, the prime minister, or head or whatever, in times of war, there can't be a transition of power. In times of conflict, there cannot be a transition of power. Benjamin Netanyahu got in trouble right before this whole conflict started. The whole Israeli government wants this to end, but Benjamin Netanyahu has been pushing this thing forward. Why? He doesn't want to leave office. We're seeing the acts of a dictator. Trump even went off on him in their meeting over the weekend or yesterday because they were showing him pictures of starving and malnourished children inside of Gaza. And Benjamin Netanyahu said those are fake pictures. That's AI. That's not real. That's fake news. And Trump got livid, which I like that. You know, if he did drop his nuts, he dropped his nuts on the man for a reason. Because there's a starvation, there's a famine going on in Gaza for no fucking reason. No aid can get in there. And I started my stream out talking about Habibi, and I'll talk about the pro-Palestine motherfuckers that before the war, they made so much noise about Kamala Harris being complicit in the genocide. And if you don't want to vote for her, cool. But shut the fuck up. Because they were actively going around, oh, she's this, she's that, bad mouthing this woman on fucking anywhere to anybody that would listen. And fast forward, not even a full year after the election, Gaza is in the worst situation that it's been ever. They can't get no aid, they can't get no water, they can't get no food, they can't get no fucking electricity, they can't get no medicine, nothing. Not a goddamn thing. And it went from Kamala and Joe trying to figure out a way to establish a two-state solution so both parties in the conflict can come out of it smiling. Now Trump has just basically said, what the fuck ever. Whatever Benjamin Netanyahu wants to do it. Do it. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Tell me again how Kamala and Joe was complacent in the genocide? If anybody's complacent in the genocide in 2025, it's the pro-Palestine movement. It's you motherfuckers. You got out there and started talking big shit and fucked it up. You fucked your people. You fucked your people. The pro-Palestine crowd is complicit in this very genocide that is going on in Gaza right now. You put your bet on Trump, and this is your end result. All right, what else we got on here? What we got over here? Speaking of conflicts, have you seen what is going on in Haiti right now? Haiti's under a 3-month declaration of, 3-month, what's the shit? State of emergency. When these so-called gangs fights were starting to pop off, I had individuals that are from Haitian, of Haitian descent, trying to tell me that the media had it wrong. These individuals that are in Haiti, they're being labeled wrongly. The media and the news want to call them gangs. Why can't we call them freedom fighters? Because that's what they're fighting for. They're fighting for their freedom. They're fighting to free the country of Haiti. And I pointed out to that individual that one gang controlled the airport. One gang controlled the seaport while the the fuel came in. And barbecue basically ran everywhere else in between, which was a notorious gang leader, cop turned gang leader. What freedom fighters? What fucking freedom fighters? These motherfuckers don't give a fuck about the common person. They give a fuck about causing destruction, taking control, having their way. That's what these gangs in Haiti have been doing over the last couple of years. So to the person that tried to chastise me and tell me that these gangs in Haiti were fighting for freedom, are you out your fucking mind? A 3-month state of emergency had just been declared in Haiti. It ain't no earthquake. It ain't no hurricane. It ain't no natural disaster this time that's causing a state of emergency. It's the gangs, the so-called freedom fighters that were supposed to liberate Haiti. Only thing these gang leaders are doing is liberating the banks and putting that shit in their pockets. They're liberating people out of their homes, taking shit, causing destruction. Now, it's not all over the whole entire island, but a big portion of it. They ain't going up into the mountains where them rich and wealthy motherfuckers that got many security forces that'll blow their ass off coming up that one lane road. They're not going there. But Haiti's fucked up because of these very fucking gangs, aka freedom fighters. We in America, we look at this type of shit and don't understand how close we are to being viewed as a third world country. Trump rolled back all those protections for black people at the beginning of his term. 7 months later, black unemployment rates are the highest it's ever been. It's not highest it's been since COVID, when everybody was fucking out of work. Think about that. Trump signed some shit in January, and by July, black unemployment rate had reached the highest it's been since COVID, when everybody was told to go sit down, and it's steadily climbing. We'll talk about individuals that don't have skills they can monetize. Everybody's not going to make money off the internet. And I think a lot of people think that they're going to make money off the internet one way or another. And the other thing that people are doing in the black community, especially that needs to stop, is the over-reliance on social services. The food stamps, the Medicaid, the housing. Niggas got to get up off that shit. The problem in America is that our social service programs are designed to keep people comfortable in their bullshit instead of motivate you to elevate out of the bullshit. We got women and men out there that will quit jobs or duck and hide individuals from their living arrangements just so they don't lose their housing. We got motherfuckers that go to whatever length they got to go to lie so they can get food stamps, Medicaid, housing, whatever. All for what? For a discount on your rent? To get a couple $100 in food stamps a month? And I understand that shit is valuable, but what are you giving up? What's the opportunity cost? Staying comfortable in this bullshit is leaving the black community way, way, way behind. And I'm gonna call you guys out, and I'm gonna say this shit for I know what I'm talking about, because I've worked in social services my entire professional career for the state of Florida. I won't give you the agencies because I don't need a bunch of motherfucking DMs asking me about this, that, and the other. But I've worked in social services my entire professional career, and I see it day in, day out. Right now, I make decisions on whether or not motherfuckers can get Medicaid food stamps, different social services, when they feel like DCF has fucked them over. I have to look over the case and make a decision. And when I look over these cases, some of the shit that I see is appalling. And it's a lot of what I'm talking about. Individuals get comfortable in this bullshit and they never want to leave it. So that when laws change, policies change, shit changes, that's the end of somebody's whole rate. They don't know how to change. They don't know how to shift because they've gotten so comfortable in this bullshit on food stamps, on Medicaid, on housing. But one thing I can say is that the cuts are coming. And if you're not prepared for those cuts, if you are one of those individuals that overly rely on your food stamps, on your Medicaid, on your housing, on these different social services, you're gonna have a hard time out here in this world. I'm not trying to talk bad about somebody, but I'm just being honest and real about it. We're in the black community. We got to stop being so reliant on these social services. We have to. I know it's nice to get that crazy amount of food stamps a month, but try to elevate yourself off of that program so that you don't have to rely on it. A lot of people are getting mad about the new changes to SNAP. For one, I believe that the changes to SNAP are warranted. I believe that a lot of what is fucking the country up health wise starts with what we're putting in our bodies. As I drink some more soda. But I have 1.5 liters of water sitting right here. Now, purposely drank a little bit of soda just to perk me up a little bit to do this chat because it's been a long fucking day. And if I just drink water, I just spilled water on myself, y'all. Just drinking water ain't gonna perk me up. And like I said, it's been a long fucking day. I need a little soda to perk me up. But if you get food stamps, you can't buy soda in certain states no more as of 2026 with food stamps. And people get mad at that. Oh, you can't have nothing with Trump. I ain't want to just tell the poor people they can't. First of all, social services was meant to help individuals elevate themselves out of a fucked up situation, not make you comfortable in a fucked up situation. So if you're getting comfortable in a fucked up situation, I got a problem with you and your mindset. Because that's not what you were put on this earth for. To just be a fucking welfare recipient your whole goddamn life. It's not an easy thing to elevate yourself from out of poverty. I'm not going to say it is. But is it worth it? Yes. Just like anything else in this world. It ain't going to come easy if it's worth it. Easy shit is shit anybody can fucking have. You know, I used to think back in my younger days when motherfuckers be like, oh, she lose. And in my mind, I'd be like, nigga, if she can, if anybody can have, I damn sure don't want her. Like, the fuck? That community pussy, my ass, nigga, you can have that. Anything easy, I don't want. And I'm a little retarded like that. I feel a little bit better when my journey takes a little bit of a little bit of rockiness to it, adds a little rockiness to it. Because I can think back on my journey and be like, damn, I overcame some shit. Not, damn, I got this food stamp card, this housing, and I'm just chilling, man. I ain't. Like, what type of life is that? What type of life is that to rely on the fucking government check? Once I had a motherfucker tell me that I was stupid because I work and I got a job and I pay taxes, I just that another. The motherfucker, oh, I'm a boss, I just that another. And I looked at them, I'm like, motherfucker, the government take care of your kids. One of them checks don't come, what's gonna happen? That food stamp don't hit, what's gonna happen? Because not only do I have a week the job to deal with for 40 hours, I got many side hustles and I got skills that I know how that are monetized. And if all that shit fails, I'm gonna sell drugs. Just be honest with y'all. Selling drugs has been my backup plan my entire fucking life. I said, the shit hits the fan, I know where to go get a pack from. That's just what it is. Selling dope is my backup plan. But outside of that, I got skills and a degree. Because I know if one of these avenues shut down, I gotta be able to rely on one of them other avenues to make some money. Got a 16-year-old child that relies on me. I'd be goddamn if I wait on the fucking check from the government to say, hey, here go a couple dollars, you can go buy her some A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Fuck no. Not that I'm shaming anybody, because if you sell me some food stamps, I'm gonna buy them. Just be honest with you. If you come to me saying you got food stamps for 50 cents on the dollar, I'm buying them. I ain't buying 75 cents on the dollar. Y'all motherfuckers retarded. But 50 cents on the dollar, I'm buying them. And I'm gonna ask you next month if you got any more. Speaking of food and food stamps, Wendy's and McDonald's have been feeling the crunch of the tariffs, and people are readjusting their lives. As you seen those Kinko's charts that Trump put up on Friday, trying to say how the economy this and the economy that, and the average household has seen an average improvement of about $1,500-$1,600 to their, salary. Da, 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 da. Well, if that was true, Donald Trump, why is Wendy's and McDonald's why is Wendy's and McDonald's saying that their first quarter breakfast predict, their first, their first, shit. If that's true, Trump, why is Wendy's and McDonald's saying that their breakfast revenue is going down? People are adjusting their life. People are adjusting their diets. People are adjusting to these fucked up times there, and they're not buying any more breakfast at McDonald's. What's going on? What's going on in the chat? What's going on in the chat? You know what? I don't get how employers can pay you an emotional salary. What do you mean emotional salary? I don't know what emotional salary is, but yeah. Elaborate a little bit. What is it? What do you consider to be an emotional salary? I'm not familiar with that. Do they think I can pay my groceries and feelings? I hope not. What these employers are starting to do, and let's see, when they pay you in feelings instead of a living wage. Yeah, that's the emotional salary. What we're seeing a lot of employers starting to do now, because the job market is saturated right now with individuals that are trying to get jobs. These employers know that they're going to get multiple individuals to apply for any fucking job that they put out there. And what's going to happen is you're going to have some individuals that are going to apply, and you're going to have to, if you offer them the job, you're going to have to pay them on the higher end of that hiring scale because of their experience, their knowledge, their background, and just who the fuck they are. Some people, they walk in the door and they make your job, your employee, your business a whole lot more easier and more valuable just because of the information that they bring with them to the door. A person like that, they're gonna have to pay high. Somebody starting out in that world, a fresh college grad, an intern, somebody that ain't got as much experience, they're gonna undercut them. They're gonna show them, they're gonna pay them more money than they've probably seen at that point in their life. But they, keep in mind, they don't have much experience. They just out of college. They may be just starting out in the work world. They don't really have that background that the other person that has. So while they may not be excellent and the perfect fit for that particular position, they can do the job. So they'll hire that person and just try and get by with the production level that they're at because, hey, I've saved $30,000-$40,000 and getting, a little bit of the same production, as opposed to having to pay somebody $100K. And now, like, these are the hard decisions that a lot of employers in America are having to make right now. Wouldn't paying them a living wage make them work harder so companies make more of a profit? Not well, added to paying them a living wage, but I would say maybe some type of stock or equity or ownership in the company. When a person feels as if they have something to personally gain from that job or that place, or that they own a piece of it, they go a lot harder. I used to work for a trade school that we taught trades to individuals. And it was an employee-owned company because every employee had a percentage of stock in that company. And we used to go hard because of that the psychology behind that, because this was our company. We knew that the more students we brought in, the more we wasn't gonna make immediately more money in our paychecks, but the stock value that we had was going to increase because that company is going to increase. So what you're saying is spot on. But we live in America under Trump, where companies are starting to do whatever the fuck they want to do. Unfortunately, they don't give a fuck about people not being depressed. They don't. They may be less depressed when they have their needs met. It's not they they might be or they are going to be 100% locked in. One of the reasons why the U.S. military pays for your room and board, your feeding, medical, all the other wild shit is that reason that you point out. When they send a soldier across that water to go do some shit, they don't want that soldier thinking about anything, being depressed, thinking about unpaid bills. Am I going to get this, that, and the other done? They want that motherfucker to go over there and perform. So that's why the U.S. military takes care of our soldiers the way they do. That exact premise that you're talking about. But unfortunately, in America, a lot of our businesses are, and I don't know if you're from America, where you're from, but in America, a lot of our businesses are profit first. They don't give a fuck about much but the profit. Profit is the bottom line for any and all American businesses. I ain't gonna say any and all, about 90% of American businesses, they're trying to make as much profit as they can fucking make. They don't care about depressed workers. They'll tell you we got an EAP program, an employee assistance program that you can go talk to somebody and get back to work. And chances are when they go call that phone number, they reaching the fucking voicemail or something. You're from Manitoba. Appreciate you for joining in from Manitoba. I didn't know I reached that far. Now I know that I am. Being seen in Manitoba. But yeah, you're spot on with your analysis. A lot of employers will, a lot of employers will work a lot harder if they feel like they got some personal skin in the game, number one. Number two, if they feel like they're being taken care of and they have no worries. But when America thinks profit first, and the Republican Party will tell you things like trickle down economics work, where we want the company to make a lot of money, and because the business owners make a lot of money, then they're going to choose to decide to pay their employees a lot of money. But we've yet to see that actually play out. And I don't know too many companies that do it. Not any big companies. I think Google has like a crazy compensation package for their staff. Yeah, I think Google does a pretty good job at it. Google, if you work for Google, especially if in any of their headquartered offices, man, I know Google, they have, not only do they have like a cafeteria where your ID badge gets you free access to food whenever, however, how much ever, even to go meals. They also have a laundromat on service. They have dry cleaning on service. They have childcare on site. They have so many perks for Google employees that Google, don't get it twisted, they do work the fuck out of their employees too. But like you point out, when you're not stressed and depressed about life, you work harder. And they get a fat paycheck. If you ever see a woman with one of these, run. Oh, what do we want to talk about? Before I get into my Trump shit, let's talk about some other things. The CDC shooting that happened in Atlanta. I just really want to touch on this really quick because it's something that I'm disappointed in a lot of Americans about. And it's not that a person was shot. It's the reason why the person was shot. Where is it at? The gunman in the CDC attack fired over 180 rounds at the building and broke 150 windows. Georgia man blamed COVID vaccine for making him depressed and suicidal, shot and killed a police officer. Why are we still talking about COVID? Why is COVID still a goddamn topic of discussion in America? Why? And the COVID vaccine is being blamed for so much shit now that it's hard to even give any of this shit time of day to see if it's real or not. Especially when we're talking about a COVID vaccine 5-6 years after the world shut down and this shit was over. This man shot up the CDC, killed an innocent police officer, and said the COVID vaccine made him suicidal and lose his goddamn mind. America's got to stop with the bullshit. We need gun reform law in America, man, very badly. Shootings like this are dominated by Americans. School shootings are a uniquely American occurrence. School shootings don't happen in other countries like they happen in America. Every fucking year we have a school shooting. Every year. I just pray and hope that my daughter gets out of the fucking school before her, god damn, like, and everybody's fucking suicidal or something. Like, bitch, please. COVID vaccine made this man suicidal. COVID vaccine made people this. COVID vaccine made people that. Y'all get the fuck off COVID dick. The bitch came and gone. Get off that hoe. That's what I wanted to say about that. Because when I seen the shooting, I was like, why they shoot up the CDC? And they're like, oh, the COVID vaccine made me crazy and suicidal. Like, why are people still focused on COVID and the vaccine? Why? Oh, they said the COVID vaccine. Bro, we got real shit going on in America right now. You motherfuckers stay focused on COVID. Speaking of real shit, we got the Secretary of Defense saying that, well, first of all, let me back up. Here we go. You motherfuckers want to focus on COVID. This is the Secretary of Defense of the East here, United States of America. Listen to this bastard.
Following its removal in 2023. This is a Confederate monument. Many suggest it was designed and put in place to symbolize the reconciliation after the Civil War. It was taken away, as I mentioned, several years ago. Why was it important for you to bring that back to Arlington National Cemetery?
Because we recognize our history. We don't erase it, Will. We don't follow the woke lemmings off the cliff that want to tear down statues. We look at and learn from our history, all aspects of it. And so Arlington deserves to have, and we're grateful to the state of Virginia for partnering with us. It wasn't easy. We fought to make it happen, and the Reconciliation Monument will return to Arlington where it belongs, to recognize the service of Americans of all chapters. So we're not tearing stuff down. We're done with that. We're putting statues back. We're putting paintings back. We're recognizing our history. We're restoring the names of bases as we've done across the country, because we're proud of our history, as difficult as it may have been in some chapters. We're going to teach it, we're going to live it, and we're going to fight for it.
Okay, you heard me mention at the top of the show, Mr. Secretary, today is National...
No, this motherfucker said we're going to teach it, we're going to live, we're going to learn from it. Who are the motherfuckers that are taking books out of school because they don't want you to learn certain shit? These motherfuckers. But hey, when it comes to certain things, hey, we're going to be proud of our history. But they're taking books out of schools that talk about the shit that they're putting on statues about. But you motherfuckers want to focus on the COVID vaccine. The Secretary of Defense said he will start a third civil war to protect these fucking statues. Let that sink in. These aren't statues of George Washington. They're not even statues of Donald Trump. These are statues from the Confederate War that the Confederate Army lost. General Robert E. Lee said, after the war was over, anybody that flies the Confederate flag in the United States of America is to be viewed as and treated as a traitor to the United States of America. These motherfuckers are traitors. But if you don't know your history, which they taking the history books out of schools, how you supposed to know that? You don't know this type of shit if you don't know it. I tell my daughter all the time, you don't know what you don't know, so shut the fuck up and learn. Even if you think you know it, shut up and still listen, because there's something that you may not know that's going to be touched on. But if you're like, oh, I know this, you miss out on something that you didn't even know you didn't know. And if you already know it, just shut up and let it be reinforced. That your knowledge be reinforced. Take comfort in knowing that, hey, what I thought was right is right. I didn't even want to touch on this really, because when I touch on like slavery and all type of shit like that, I get a little aggravated and agitated and antsy. My grandfather beat old cracker ass in South Carolina, and he then had to move to Florida. So just say it's in my blood to fuck cracker up. And to any white people on streams understand, I am by law allowed to say Florida crackers, because we do have Florida crackers. That's really a historical thing here in the state of Florida. So I can say Florida crackers. The white man that my granddaddy beat up wasn't a Florida cracker. It's a South Carolina cracker, but I don't know if they got crackers up there, but pretty sure my granddaddy whooped a Florida cracker too. All right, let's jump into Donald Trump. I'll be trying not to be Trump heavy on y'all, but I'm gonna start out with something that I think Trump actually is doing right. I know it's rare to hear me say I think Trump did something right, or he's on the right path, or he's doing good. But understand that as an independent, it's my job to try and see where I can give Trump credit for it. Right here, I'm going to give Trump credit for this. Not a one-year flash sale, but this right here. Trump says he's looking at reclassing marijuana at the federal level. As long as the changes are applied across the board and not just on some, for only whites only type shit, I'm good. I'm happy. Not because I want to just walk down the street smoking a joint, but because marijuana being classified in the same category as the worst and the harmful drugs shouldn't be. There's been a long talk about reclassifying marijuana to a Schedule 2 or 3 narcotic. I think it's a Schedule 1 narcotic right now. I mean, it's the strongest and most deadliest and most addictivest and most fucked up in this category of drugs. And it's put that way because of a political campaign to just make marijuana look bad. Reefer madness, anyone? Yeah, that was a real thing. Reefer madness is the reason why all this shit is happening. But we're overdue for somebody to look at these laws and say, well, is weed really on the level as LSD and heroin? I don't think so. Now, I've never tried LSD or heroin or crack or cocaine or any of those other drugs, but I don't think I gotta try to look at a crackhead and be like, you know what? I don't want to look like that. Just don't. So kudos to Trump. Kudos to Trump. Kudos to Trump for saying he's going to look at reclassifying marijuana at a federal level. This could be just another bait and switch move by Trump. I do recognize that. I fully understand that. But just for him to come out and talk about it, good start, bro. Good start. Now, let's see what actually happens. Is marijuana going to be reclassified? I don't know. When will it be reclassified? I don't know. If it's reclassified, which category would it be classified in? I don't know. But the fact that he's really willing to entertain the conversation, I'm with it. I am with it. Now, one thing I'm not a fan of Trump's on is Trump taking over the DC police. Donald Trump is declaring a national emergency in the District of Columbia as of today. It's sharing the wrong screen. Sharing the wrong blood clot screen. Yeah. So we've seen crime in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, if you will, decline over the years. We've not seen the types of crime numbers that Trump is trying to portray in order to declare a national crime emergency in the District of Columbia to activate federal troops and basically take over and have the federal troops and National Guard just take over and police. It's not supposed to be like that. Federal troops are not supposed to be deployed on United States citizens unless there's a immediate need for that type of shit. Unless we're under attack, unless there's a great need for it. And we don't have that. What we're seeing now is one of the central themes in the Project 2025 playbook. I've touched this before. I'm going to keep on touching on it because they keep doing it. They're going in the rule books. Finding the book. They're taking the rule books. They open it up, finding some obscure page, and blowing off all the fucking dust. And trying to activate old obscure laws and clauses and use them inappropriately. That's why I also have been saying that the U.S. Justice Department has been keeping America safe. They have been the ones that have single-handedly saved America because the Justice Department is one that's going out there and saying, hey, Donald Trump, that clause that you're quoting is not supposed to be used that way. Congress is not doing it. They're completely being complicit in this shit. That's why the midterm elections is so big, and that's why that's why the Republicans are trying to figure out ways to create more Republican seats because they know that they're in trouble. And come midterm elections, Democrats could flip Congress and take over Congress. So they're trying now to create more seats to shore up their stronghold, to make it seem like, hey, there's no way in hell we could lose control, and Donald Trump keep doing what we want, what he wants to do, and we won't keep getting in his way. We won't get in his way. Nobody can be able to get in his way because Congress legally can get in his way, but the Republicans in Congress, they're not doing it. They're playing the game right along with Donald Trump because why? They are in lockstep with that Project 2025 playbook. That's just the simple reality of it. All these niggas out here want to say, oh man, they want to do no shit like that. Shit, you said your baby daddy wouldn't cheat on you, and that motherfucker did. You said she wouldn't motherfucking cheat on you, and she did. The fuck? What y'all like to say in the hood? And did. That's what the fuck they doing. Playing in your fucking face. But hey, you had the playbook. Sony, I'm never gonna get over the amount of black people that told me that Project 2025 shit wasn't real, and all this shit that Trump is currently doing, people just were trying to put on him. I told y'all shit like this was gonna happen. Man, that man ain't trying to do that. Man. Bullshit. And this declaration of emergency in DC is a small test case. Right now, we're seeing small test cases to test the powers, to test, see how far they can get with certain shit before we start to see the real impact. If y'all ain't got no firearms, you better clean your fucking guns. Excuse me. If you got firearms, you better clean your fucking guns. I'm going to tell you like the old heads used to tell me. If you stay ready, you got to get ready. That's one. And number two, and it's something I live by. I swear, I live by these 5 words. I keep it on me. I don't know how many old heads I heard say that when I was growing up, but I promise you, I keep it on me. Because we're living in wild times. We keep seeing protections for black people get pulled back. We're seeing Trump trying to federalize the police force. We're seeing sheriffs and police officers, police chiefs getting pissed off right now with the Department of Justice and ICE because they're trying to steal their staff. ICE is trying to recruit police officers left and right now. If your local police force loses the police people that they have working, do you understand that that's the environment that is perfect for the federal government to come in and say, hey, well, you can't police yourself, so we'll police you for you. You can't get enough police officers, don't worry. We got some officers, we'll help you out. We'll help you out. That vision is a motherfucker. When you see this type of shit coming and you try and tell people, it's never going to be received until the bullshit starts. So how I'm going to end this is I say, I hope that people pay attention to the stuff that I'm saying here. And not only pay attention, but actually look into it and read and research. Because I'm not a content creator. I don't do this shit for money. I ain't even made $100 off the fucking internet. Well, I ain't gonna say off the internet because I just much make some money on the internet, but I ain't even making $100 off my monetization yet. So I don't do this for money. I do this to try and impact and enlighten and encourage some motherfuckers out here in this world. I speak my shit the way I speak it because some people, this is how they receive information. Somebody gonna see me talking on him like, damn, that nigga talk just like me. He's trying to talk politics in a way that I can understand it. Not in a suit and tie. Even though I got a whole closet full of them shits. I'm not sitting here trying to be pompous and holier than thou when I talk these politics. I put this shit in terms that you motherfuckers can understand. Because I understand that there's a gap in how some people are receiving that information. Some people don't know some of the words that are being said on the news. That's just the reality of it. So when you see me talking about stories, and all of a sudden you see me kind of just glaze off, my eyes just kind of go off up there, that's because I'm thinking as I talk. Now I know it's something I'm going to say that I need to bring down a little bit and not say it in the built up dictionary way that I was about to say it. So I got to very quickly on the spot flip and say this in a way that anybody from a third grader to a motherfucker with a high school diploma to a motherfucker that ain't got a high school diploma can understand this. So that's why I do this. I don't do this for likes and views and shares. I do this shit for me and motherfuckers.